Alright guys, I gotta talk about this, I have to review this. The movie is Siren, and for those of you that don't know, if you're not horror fans, you may not have heard of the VHS series, which is a 3-movie series, and basically what it is different directors come together and make different segments, or mini films if you like, short films in this movie. And Siren is based on the very first segment in the very first VHS, which is also arguably the best segment in the series, and I thought it was for a little while, but I've watched it that many times, I kind of got sick of it, and once you lose that sort of shock factor and you know what's going to happen already, it takes away from it. If you guys haven't seen the VHS movies, fuck, you're in for a treat, because they're all they got all twisted sort of endings that you don't see coming. There's always a surprise, and if you don't know what's happening, it makes it all the more terrifying, all the more scary, and all the more enjoyable. I hate knowing what's going to happen, so you can't ever watch a film a second time around and have that same shock factor. It's just not going to happen. But long story short, Amateur Night is a very popular segment in the VHS series. Most people think it's the best. I think it probably is. There's a lot that I like, but that one's definitely the one that I've watched the most, and maybe I don't watch it as much anymore or like it as much anymore because I've just thrashed it so much. You know, without doubt, that's the segment that I wanted to show off to my friends that haven't seen VHS, and friends that aren't particularly into horror and I want to scare the shit out of and stuff like that. So definitely an awesome segment they chose, probably the most popular, and it basically follows Lilith, who is the chick in VHS 1 Amateur Night, who I won't I guess I don't know, should I tell you what she is? No, I probably won't. She's some sort of creature is all that I'll say, in case you guys want to watch the film and watch Amateur Night. Don't want to ruin it for you, don't want to spoil it all. She's a creature, and I wasn't too sure whether Siren was going to be like a prequel, sequel, or maybe an origin type film. It starts off as an origin type film. We sort of see how she comes into existence. It looks like she's summoned by some sort of cult or some sort of evil group or something like that. And then once we actually get into this building where she's summoned, somehow this sinister, devious looking dude with the cowboy hat, who's actually collecting a lot of supernatural women and supernatural type people, I guess you can call them, is almost like the Professor Xavier in this film, except that the people are a lot more fucked up and they're not exactly mutants. They've just got kind of weird supernatural abilities that he uses for himself and to sort of whore out in this secret club of his. But anyway, he turns up out of nowhere. All of these cult people are dead, and we find a very young Lilith there, very scared and very unsure. You know, she's just been brought into this world from wherever the hell she's from, and this guy obviously knows a lot about her, or he knew that something was happening in this place, and he has like a magical kind of restraint that he puts around her ankle, and he kind of subdues her or renders her powerless. Either way, he can control her. Something in this anklet stops her from going nuts and killing everybody. So he's obviously kidnapped Lilith from a very young age and then takes her back to his supernatural whorehouse mansion, where he kind of makes his money by getting guys to visit these different supernatural women for some sort of treat of some kind. You know, it's different with everyone. They've all sort of got different kind of abilities, powers, supernatural abilities. But we're going too far anyway. Basically, where the film kicks off is after we sort of see the origin of Lilith. This is obviously not a sequel. It's obviously a prequel slash origin stories. I wouldn't say origin story because we just got a little bit of an intro at the beginning as to where Lilith originated from. After that, it's obviously this guy with the cowboy hat's obviously imprisoned her. So it can't be a sequel because from a young age she's imprisoned the whole time, and that is until this group of guys who are going out for a bachelor night turn up at this mansion, you know, after going to a really shady strip club, which is absolutely shit. The strippers are fat, they're falling off the pole. It's actually pretty good. I mean, the movie starts off really well, really promising. Even from the introduction up until the point where the guys are going to this really bad strip club. They're about to call it a night where they meet this strange looking dude who says, this is shit, isn't it? You want to come over to this place? And the brother of the groom is the really troublemaker type devious character. Aren't they always the brothers of the groom? They're always the troublemakers, and they're always like the big party goers. He convinces all the guys to go with a bit of trouble, and they end up at this mansion, and that's where the story kind of kicks off. We kind of find out that everything that's happening in this place is definitely not right. It's very kind of supernatural and creepy. Totally my thing. I love supernatural, creepy sort of shit. So I was impressed straight away. I thought this movie is really going to take off now. The groom gets to meet Lilith at a price. So the rest of these guys had to actually provide this owner with the cowboy hat that I'm talking about. They meet this owner. They had to provide their most fond memory of their mother, which was a bit weird, you know. They just kind of put their head down and they gave away a memory somehow. We weren't too sure how at the moment, but it turns out that there's a woman who has a wig on, obviously, and she has leeches coming out of her freaking skull. So these leeches are actually used to trap memories of people. Basically what you do is if you lower your head, the leech will go into the back of your neck and steal the memory that you're thinking about, or that this club owner would like to own. And not just that, when you get up, you have no recollection of what happened. So we find that out later. You know, in the beginning, they kind of put their heads down. They agree to give it a memory for the groom to meet Lilith and have an awesome time. You know, the owner guarantees an awesome time. So they kind of think it's a big joke. They do it. Later on, we find out that these leeches that we see a couple of times within the film, either in a drink as a memory, which can be passed through, obviously, drinks. If you consume the leech, you consume the memory. And you also see them on this lady's head, which is pretty cool. I wish they kind of played more. I wish we got to meet more of these supernatural characters. I don't think we got to meet enough. There was nowhere near enough. You know, we got to meet a few, but nowhere near enough. There's so much they could, you know, play with all these different types of powers and supernatural monster type abilities. I thought it was really cool, but we didn't get to see much. Anyway, long story short, the groom ends up going to meet Lilith and has this awesome sort of psychological sexual experience. And as he's about to leave, he figures out, like, not that it's hard to figure out because there's locks on fucking every door and window and everything in this room. Lilith is obviously a prisoner. He decides he wants to break her out, and she actually reaches out to him, and you can hear her say, "Don't go, don't go." So he decides to do something crazy and help Lilith escape. That's where the movie changes, and that's where the movie kind of goes downhill for me. I was very disappointed from the moment when Lilith was set free. It really kind of takes a downhill spiral, and they just don't take advantage of Lilith enough. I mean, she's got these awesome powers. She's got this whipping tail that she can use to freaking kill you, stab you, decapitate you, whatever. But they don't. Most of the time when you see Lilith attack people, she just kind of jumps on them and just nulls them to death, when she's got so many other abilities. She's got massive claws. She can swipe away your face. Like, they really could have done a better job with the action sequences and the sequences with Lilith killing people. Like, there's a lot of kills and stuff, but it's not graphic. You don't see Lilith using her full potential, and that really took away from the movie for me. It also, as soon as he releases Lilith, this groom, he realizes really quick that she ain't human and starts to try and run away from her, like within a minute. So he's done all this, he's decided to do something crazy, let her out, and within virtually a minute, he's running away from her, and the film becomes a chase movie. So Lilith is trying to obviously catch him because she's got that connection with him. You know, Lilith, if she smells you and grows like an emotional connection with you, she must have you. You know, she won't leave you alone. Kind of like we saw in Amateur Night, for those of you that have seen it. You know, she grew really attached after she sniffed that one guy. So if she sniffs you, you're fucked. She's not going to go away. So yeah, basically from there, you know, the guys are trying to escape the mansion. They're trying to get away from Lilith, and they've also got the club owner and his goons chasing them as well. So it turns into a big chase movie. And then obviously there's deaths, and some people get caught, and then they're interrogated, and then Lilith catches up to some people, and you know, there's a lot of things going on, but it really went downhill ever since Lilith was set free. I was a little disappointed. You know, the movie's good, but I definitely expected more, and all my expectations were actually satisfied up until the point where Lilith was set free. I just think it really went downhill. I hate the direction that they went in after that point in time. It really disappointed me, but you know, they decided to do it. You know, we can't always get what we want, and either way, I still enjoyed the film. You guys have to watch it. I recommend this for all horror fans, particularly if you like the VHS series. You know, you got to check out this sort of origin or prequel story to Lilith. It's definitely interesting. But if you ask me, it could have been better. Fuck yeah, it could have been better. So a little bit disappointed, but definitely worth the watch for fans of the VHS series and from the Amateur Night segment. As far as a final score goes, I'll have to give, and as you guys know, my regular viewers will know that I score all of my movies out of 13. I'll have to give Siren a 7, and that is mostly because of how downhill it went after Lilith was set free. You know, it's like we got half a good movie and then half is average or even a little bit less than average. I don't know. You guys have to watch it. Tell me what you think in the comments below. We can definitely discuss it. And if you think I'm wrong, let me know. You know, no offense here. It's all good. We'll talk about it. Until next time, Benny 13, out.